So we have made our way to Donegal Golf Club. McBride is such a special place, as you can probably see behind us, and we're joined by two special people. Eamonn O'Connor is to my far left, and John McBride is sitting here in the middle. And gentlemen, to be here again under this glorious sunshine is such a pleasure. Eamonn, if I could start with you, if you're talking to the world about who this golf course is, what would that message be?
What this is a natural golf course. It's a natural dune system course, and about 300 yards up there we have a strand about more than a mile long. So we're on a peninsula as well. In actual fact, it's a finger of dune systems just in the middle of the sea. So we're surrounded by water, but we don't have any hole where there is water. So
Fascinating.
And we came here. The course was organised in Donegal, first of all, a 9-hole course, and it was the balls would normally be plugging in it for 9 months of the year. So we had to get someplace that was reasonably dry underfoot. So we had a crew that went to Bundoran to play golf one day, and they came back through here and looked it over, and that was the word. So from there on, we were involved with Morva. Now this one is Lower Morva. Upper Morva is where you come in. And as I said before, it's a peninsula just sticking out in the sea.
This stage, John, that you have built this golf course on, what was it before, and how did you envision what it could become?
Well, I wasn't at the very beginning, but I was a year later. But how it become, I was a member in Bundoran, and I saw them coming down here because I was living in Ballantrae. And I said, this is where I'll be a member. Because when it started in 9 holes and developed fairly quickly. It was designed by a very famous Irish designer, Eddie Hackett, and he designed the course without moving earth anywhere. He just cut out tees and greens, and these fellas were before me, Eamonn and company, and they cut the marm grass away and made greens. No money spent. We had no money. Eddie Hackett didn't need money. He was very good. And that was my first involvement there, and I've been there since, along with this Eamonn O'Connor here beside me.
Eamonn, when you first saw this land, did you envision the golf course on it?
It was very hard to see this land because right behind us out here in the distance you have an island. And the only way onto the island was from the main road, a little track, just around that green there, straight down into the corner of the second tee, and then over to the island. And Foster's Castle was built on the island. So that was the only way. And when we came here first, you couldn't even travel on that track. It was only a track. And so it went from there then. So nearly the first thing we had to do was build a road. And there were a man working with the Forestry Commission, and he says not to come in through the car park on the forestry. There's a special road going down to that for the strand. So we had to, first of all, build a road in to be able to get here at all before we could do anything. So from there on, anyway, we went. So the Foster's Castle behind us, he was married to a lassie called Isabel. So the island is now called Bell's Isle. It's a well-known island, Bell's Isle. So it's a lovely place as well. It's all grown over now, but from there on, anyway, after Eddie Hackett put down pegs for greens and tees and that, we set about then building the golf course itself. So for, as John said, we had no money. So the first thing is we got places for the greens, put a stick, an ordinary stick about 6 foot long, and a bottle on top of it. And we plated those for about a year until we got accustomed of where the greens would be best suited. And from there then, anyway, we progressed. And we needed then, of course, to get some sort of a staying spot where you could change your clothes and that. So we had a shed out there at the far side, which is still probably there. And before, we had no clubhouses or anything. It must have been 7 or 8 years before we had a clubhouse. And that's the second clubhouse now on the same area as the first one. So we're gradually making progress. We're only here now 50 years, 53 years. So, you know, it takes time, No one is perfect in just a day. It takes months, takes years. It could take 50 years.
Well, it's been 53 so far towards that goal of perfection. John, when you guys hear from people who come in and experience the links for the first time here, what kind of responses do you get?
We're getting a very good response from 99% of the people that come here. And a lot of them have come back as a result. Now, early on, in the 70s, we only had members. In the 80s, we began to get green fees. Now, they were very cheap at the time. Can't remember that. They weren't costly, but we got them, and we needed them, because we only had 2 men working on the course for the first 10 years. We got a 3rd man in 1980, and then we developed from that. But when the greens were being cut originally, we had 2 men with 2 hand mowers, and it took the 2 of them a day to cut 9 greens each. And from then on, into the 80s, things were improved, the course was improved, more people from outside began to come because they liked the layout. In 1992, I became secretary manager here, so there was big progress when they made it. Everything before that was all voluntary. And we had a steward here that did everything. And from then on, when I came then, I was here for 10 years. And things were improving well. It was during that time that clubhouse was built, 1998. And but from then on it developed, and it got very popular. And it's getting more popular all the time. And we had Pat Ruddy as a second architect. Now we have Paul McGinley, and he's working at the moment. You'll see some of his work out there. He's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and 17th and 18th done. And we're quite pleased with him. And when he's closing bunkers, he's making things a bit easier. And instead of bunkers, he has run-offs. But that's the way we're developing. And as you can see, you're here now with, 2 bus loads, 32. It just shows you the way we're going.
Yeah. Eamonn, when you think back those 53 years, would you have imagined what's here now?
Hard to know. It's hard to... You wouldn't know at this stage where you were going to be in another 50 years. So you see, it's hard to imagine. But you see, it's 180 acres is what's here in this area. And when Eddie Hackett designed it, we were only testing him to really show us how much land we needed. So, of course, he put the fence down right around, down to the 5th hole. And that's the area within 180 acres we have. And, of course, when you have that sort of land and it's reasonably flat, you're going to have a problem with rainwater, especially in the north of Donegal, or in Donegal, north of Ireland. And as it rains, it tends to accumulate. So we had to put a certain amount of drains as well on the course. Basically, one is running from west to east, you know, to try and eliminate a heavy influx of water, you know, at night or sometime, so as to be equally good as any other time during the summer. So that's the way it is. It's perfect at the moment. Absolutely perfect. We're happy enough with it. Very happy. And we only can see it going from excellent to excellent, yeah.
John, you mentioned that we're here with a couple of coaches full of eager golfers to experience the links. North and West Coast Links brought us in here to experience this links course. My last question I would have for you, and I'll ask Eamonn the same. Why do you think that this course is a must-play?
Well, it's a must-play because when you arrive down here, you're arriving into an area that there's nothing else down here, only the golf club, only the golf course. And you have water all around you, nobody else gets in. And you have peace and quiet, and you can play golf. And the course itself is a good challenge for golfers. And from there, you can see nothing, only nice peace and quiet place for playing golf, and a good challenge, and 2 9 holes that finishes at the clubhouse. You can come in and have a snack and go again if you feel like it. And I think, all in all, it's a lovely setting for a golf club.
But the natural element to this here, do you understand me? The fairways are not just immaculate, dead level and that. There are humps and bumps of all descriptions along the way, and that's the natural beauty of the place itself. And you can see what's behind us and around some of the greens. Look at there, and just in front of us, you have 3 foot of marram grass growing. Just 5 yards from the clubhouse. So peace and tranquility, that's what it's all about.
Especially if you can keep it in the fairway, there's no doubt. Congratulations with what you have accomplished, thank you very much for the hospitality, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
So, anyway.
We'll be back with more.